Hey, this is Stacia, and we are returning to our study of this amazing game by, well, actually, I don't know, but I assume it's amazing because it was played by Pillsbury, the winner of the Hastings 1895 very famous chess tournament. In my mind, it's the most famous tournament. I don't know any more famous ones. Um, and well, anyway, I think we left off on move 29 with knight to d7. So let's click through and get to that quickly. So this was a queen's gambit declined with bishop g5. And Pillsbury took the pawn at the right moment, played bishop d3. Black got c5 in. This was actually an inaccuracy because the rook actually wants to be on c1. Yeah, and this I thought is an interesting plan by black. So they're pushing their queenside majority. But our knight comes to the center, supported by f4. The queen transfers to the king side. This knight's coming to the king side. f6. Never play f6. I love that move. f5, clearing the f5 square for our pieces. I thought the knight was going to come in there for sure. Pillsbury had other ideas. Better ideas, probably. Rook f4. So he started pressuring this. And that does tie down the black pieces. Oh yeah, this is why he played knight back to c3, because now with f5 in, that pawn is weak. He's just attacking it like crazy, and like, well, we already talked about that. So I'll just continue. Okay, knight f2. What? Was knight f2 really played? Move 26. Yes, it was. Okay, I didn't remember that one. And then it came back. Okay. Oh yeah, because we were attacking e4, and then we, once the black resources were all targeted on their silly pawn, then we reroute and do something different. Okay, and here, this move is actually an exclam. So here we go. Knight d7 and rook 4 to f2 is an exclam move they give in the book. So yeah, I love this because I'll be honest with you guys, I had to remake the video because I screwed up. But I was trying to decide how I would play this position. I did not find this move. I would have played knight to c1, which I think is, that is a Stacia move. A lot of times when there's a really good move on the board and you make a silly move like this, I call that a Stacia move. As you can see, I'm brimming with confidence. But, I was like, well, I couldn't find anything better, so I'll defend my pawn. But that's ridiculous. I don't know. If we have better, we should play better. Now, I am curious, though, because this move clears the square for the knight. So that is clear. Now, are the threats from knight f4 good enough to allow this queen takes a2 move? That's my main question. Now, lucky for us, they have a variation in the book on this. So let's go ahead and look at it. They're saying if queen takes a2, then there would be knight to f4. Okay, that attacks a bishop at the very least. But also, I think we're threatening that, right? This pawn's pinned, so that would win material as well. Yeah, I'm really, I'm starting to calculate, sorry. Knight f4, bishop f7 they give. Knight g2, or I'm sorry, knight g6 check. Yeah, so they're going to play this anyway. Okay, very interesting, because black just defended that. So they take. F takes g6. And h6. Yeah, this doesn't look ideal for black, does it? But I get h6. They're trying to, trying to close this up. But I mean, knight takes h6 definitely comes to mind. Probably wins. But they give another variation here. If you try knight to f8, which guards the checkmate on h7, then there's knight takes f6, g takes f6, rook takes f6, knight to d7, knight to d7. Well, I guess we're threatening that. Yeah, we're threatening to take that and mate. That's what I'm seeing. So they're giving this move, but oh yeah, because it defends that way. But if we do that, okay, knight takes, rook takes f6, knight d7, rook f7 wins. Yeah, that makes sense. Because now that's a double threat. And if they take that, we still have a double threat. There's nothing they can really do, right? Except lose more material. So that makes a lot of sense. And I guess, if they try to check us and stuff, I'm assuming we get away. I'm not using the chess engine, so this is harder than usual. No, I think we go here because we're attacking the queen and we're threatening checkmate. So yeah, that should win. Okay, so knight f8 didn't work, so they were saying this move, h6, but I think we should take it. No, they want to do this one. Wow. Rook takes f6, knight takes f6. Knight takes oh, I'm sorry. Rook takes, knight takes. Rook takes again. This is what they want. G takes. And then, yeah, that looks pretty convincing, right? I don't think you want to put your rook there. So, queen takes, king g8. And then we have checkmate. So, pretty cool. So, okay. I'm pretty convinced, and I hope you guys are as well, that this move, rook 4 to f2, it stops them from playing queen takes a2. They cannot do that. The threat of knight f4 is just too great. So in the game, they played king to g8. So now if we go knight f4, it attacks the bishop, but maybe bishop f7, I'm wondering about this because is black actually holding this time? Or could they even grab the pawn? Maybe they could. No, I'm very suspicious of the pawn grab. I don't know if they're going to show this or not, but I mean, this looks pretty rough. They couldn't possibly do this, could they? Okay, well, let's continue. King g8. Wow, Pillsbury actually played the move that I said. I'm a little shocked. Knight c1 is played. It says securing the queen side for the moment. Okay, if I was black, I would play c3. I mean, C3 looks pretty good, doesn't it? Like, okay. Oh, that's what he played? Okay, so I do want to take a moment here. What should we play now? Are we going to take that? Taking seems wrong, right? Like, because then we've got problems. That's a passed pawn, and I don't like that. So this is the other option, which I'm definitely considering. It attacks the queen, and everything's guarded. If the queen comes in here, we might argue that the queen's out of play, you know? The queen's definitely not guarding the black king. And then I'm not sure how black makes progress there. The only thing I could think about or come up with is maybe this. Oh, I guess possibly they could retreat the queen and do that. That's the other thing. But even that doesn't, it just seems much slower now. So, okay, those are my thoughts. Let's continue. Hang on a second. Knight C1, make that the main line. Okay. C3. Okay, so what did Pillsbury do? He played B3. Okay, so he did this. Yeah, that's interesting. So I think he saw that when he played Knight C1, definitely. And then they went Queen C6. Yeah, and I would guess that they're going to go for this plan. That plan makes a lot of sense. And Pillsbury played H3. H3. What? Wow. Well, if I didn't know better, I think he's playing that move because he wants to play G4. G4, G5. You know, because if we attack this pawn, then one of two things will happen. They'll either like take back. I mean, if the knight takes, and the king side opens up, possibly for the rooks. Or if they take on G5, you know, we start pushing. So those are just ideas. But I think that's what he's doing. So he must have plans for that knight. Plans like knight e5 or knight takes f6. Like some sacrifice is what I'm thinking. And, you know, I think this shows, this is what strong players do. They know, like, they know when to defend and they know when to attack. So he slowed down. Like, black was like one move away from crashing through on the queen side. But now, you know, on the queen side, it's going to take 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 moves to crash through. And if we have 4 moves on the king side, you know, they might get checkmated. Probably they will. So, all right, let's continue. So after C3, B3, Queen C6, H3, there's A5. Okay, I was right about the plan. I'm happy to know that. So it says, in order to open the A file for invasion after A4 and A takes B3, and then he actually didn't sack the knight. He played knight to H2. Wow, he's very patient. He's very patient. But clearly, okay, I know for sure he wants to go G4 now because... So I'm really glad we're looking at this game. This is a type of attack that I am not all that experienced with and I don't know how to do, but I've seen other people do it enough. But I haven't really analyzed it like this. And so I assume we're going to play G4. And who knows what else? I'm not sure, but because King H1 looks a little insane. But maybe there's no way to... You know what? King H1 is probably okay because how would they ever get that pawn out of there? The only way would be if they put something here and we actually took it. they put something on d3 and we take it, that would open it up, but that's not going to happen, I don't think. Or maybe if they took, distract our pawn. Ooh, so they could take here too. That's another option. And when we take, they push, that could be check. So I'm just kind of figuring out if we can put our king on each one. I think so. It's not 100% safe, but I think we would have time to deal with the possible threats. Or at least that's what my 1700 mind wants to think. Okay, so knight h2. And, okay, it says clearing the way for the advance of the g-pawn. Okay, we know that. Now, a4, of course, right? Like, black needs to, I mean, if I was black, I'd be like, yeah, I don't like all this stuff near my king. So I would try to make the most forcing moves on the queen side that I could for counterplay. So that's what they're doing. So g4. And now this is a cool game because both sides are attacking. And to me, it's unclear, you know, who's going to win, but I guess we know who's going to win. So AB is played. AB, and rook to A8. Wow. All right, so I'm not looking at the next move. So here we have a position where black has made some serious progress on their queenside play, right? The C pawn is a passed pawn, and they have a rook on the now open A file. There's also going to be tricks possibly with queen takes and knight takes. Oh, maybe not. Our rook is guarding the queening square. So the knight and the rook would guard it. I think we're okay for now, but this definitely looks like there's definite play over here. And maybe black could continue with rook A1 even, you know, because rook A1. And then if we take here and knight takes, we could trade off a rook. I'm not sure that does anything either. Okay, so black still has work to do on this side of the board. But even just playing C2 looks like something, you know. It's definitely something. On the other hand, how do we proceed now? I think for sure I would want to go G5. G5 just looks like, you know, the natural way forward. So if we go G5 right now, I guess we have to calculate a little. Let's just say G5. Yeah, I'm not sure what black does. I was thinking rook A1 or what else, you know? I know, maybe rook A3 makes more sense. So let's just play that because it does attack a pawn. So G5, rook A3. Now, do we actually want to take on F6 or not? I think that's a valid question. Because we could push G6. But on G6, there's H6. And that might close it down a bit. G5, rook A3, G6, H6. What I'm seeing is maybe knight G4, and that actually looks pretty pretty compelling because we could take pawn takes, queen takes. I mean, isn't it going to be mate? Because the pawn on G6 would basically take all the squares away. The king's trapped on the back row. We'd be threatening Queen H7, Queen H8 checkmate. So that seems like a viable plan. Okay, and if we go g5 and they take it, let's just say they take it first of all. Then we take and the rook's hanging. Knight g4 is coming. Okay, that just seems wrong. I don't think they can take. So g5, rook a3 must be correct. And then on g6, if they take on g6, I would still do this. I would still do this. Because now queen h7 and queen h8. That's checkmate. Well, maybe not. There is bishop g8. There's bishop g8. But okay, I don't have any concrete conclusions, but I would definitely play g5. I can tell you that. So let's see what he did. He did play g5. Makes sense. It says white intends to use the g file for attack. Also, in some cases, g5, g6 is strong. Okay, well, we just looked at that, so we understand that. Rook a3. Oh, good. I'm glad I found the right counterplay. Right? They want to win the b pawn, and then that's two connected passers. So, knight g4. Wow, I was gonna play g6, but knight g4 here. And bishop takes b3. Wow. Okay, so what do we do here? What do we do? Do we want to take the bishop? Or do we want to proceed somehow? Yeah, we definitely should slow down here because this is the natural move, right? Like they took something, so let's take. But here, and they're so close to winning, you know, so close. So what if we go g6 here? I just want to ask that question for a second. That threatens mate, right? Because here, checkmate. Oh, it's not mate. The bishop will come back and guard. So now I'm wondering about throwing in knight takes, like in the calculation. So like here. Threatens mate. Or does it? I guess it doesn't. Okay, I actually think we should take the bishop. That's what I'm thinking now. But we also should look at this. But this is actually guarded quite a bit. So, is it enough though? Takes, knight takes, knight takes, queen takes. I mean, there is like stuff like queen takes, pawn takes, rook check. I mean, but that's not anything. I think I would take the bishop, is what I'm thinking. So let's see. g5, rook a3, knight g4, bishop takes. Oh my gosh, what? Wow, you guys, I didn't see this move at all. Rook g2. This is what Pillsbury played. It's a building move. I'm usually a very good builder. I usually am. You know, I actually, I don't know why I wanted to take this bishop so bad when I think about it. Because it is in the way of the counterplay, right? The knight's in the way. The bishop's in the way of this pawn. Like, probably knight takes bishop just helps black continue a little bit faster. Especially since we're stealing a move from our side. And Pillsbury played this. Wow. Okay. So this is quite fascinating. It says now white uses the G file to open up a brilliant attack. Ooh, yeah, because in that variation I wanted to play, I played Rook G2 at the end. You know that? And then I was like, oh, there's nothing. Well, guess what? I think it's different if the rook is already on G2. You know, and I noticed that a lot of strong players make moves like this. They calculate a line, and then they change the move order. You know, so like I wanted to play Rook G2 at the end, so instead, let's play it first. And I bet it's totally different. So, Black played King H8, wow, which I don't understand. Well, I do understand. They're just like, hey, like, my king's in line with the rook, so maybe I should move it. And I'm sure they were considering F8, but it doesn't seem like much better, does it? I don't know. Well, no, because we would take here. That's why. So King H8. Okay. Now, how do we continue? It says G takes. So I thought for sure the knight would take here. But I mean, if I was black, I would. So if they take with a knight, okay, he doesn't. They take with a pawn, but why? So like if they take here, I'm seeing some stuff, sorry. I was kind of wondering about this move. You know, that threatens knight g6 check again. Okay, well, they took with a pawn. GF, GF, knight takes b3. Oh, he did take the bishop now. Rook takes b3. And now knight to h6. Yeah. I like this move because it threatens checkmate in one. So black will have to defend that. Probably rook e8 is most natural. But then if rook e8, then we have knight f7 mate, right? Isn't that mate? Wow. So they can't go rook e8. So what do they do? Maybe queen c8 or queen a8. But, you know, then we could do it anyway if we want to. Because then it would be rook g8, queen takes, knight takes, king takes. Maybe it's possible, I don't know. Okay, let's see what happened. Knight h6, rook g7. Oh, I didn't consider that defense, but that makes sense, right? Just block the G file. So, okay, what is Pillsbury going to do here? Definitely looks tempting to take it. Looks tempting. So, and before, it's in the book they noted not this because of mate. And so here he did take. And now I saw there's an exclam move, but I didn't see the move itself. So if you want to pause your video and try to find this move, go ahead and do so now. Okay, I'm really wondering about a lot of stuff here. Rook g2 is very slow, or rook f2, I mean. Same with king h1. So I don't think that's right. So we should look at checks for sure, right? So queen g4 is possible. He could take our knight. Do we have some kind of mate there? Queen g4 check. King takes. Ooh. I like the idea of king h1, like rook g1. Like, I don't know. I don't know if this could work. It's slow, though. Oh, queen and our rook is pinned. It would have to be king h2, but then they could do this. Yeah, ooh, what about queen h5? What about queen h5? You know, we're threatening this, and then if they take here, well, we're still like maybe running out of steam. Okay. I'm not totally sure how he's going to finish this, but let's see. Oh, queen g3 check is what he played. A spectacular stroke, which black must have overlooked. Okay, check. So, did he take the knight? He did. I mean, if you don't take the knight, then oh, it actually says rook b3 because of queen g8 check. Oh, yeah, we're not even trying to mate. We just go take the rook. Huh, that's cool. So pretty much he has to accept this sacrifice. But I mean, I think anybody would see that the king's in huge trouble here, right? Like trapped on the H file with the rook and the queen and even a pawn. 2 pawns. So there's got to be like a mate coming. So, okay, can we play king h1 now? I mean, I want to move my queen out of the king out of the way and go rook g1, but we have to calculate this out. King h1, and they could go c2, right? And if rook g1, there's c1 equals queen. That does pin our rook. So now if we're going to mate, oh, I think it works still. Okay, so I actually think it might be queen g7, queen h5, queen h7, and that's mate, right? I think that's mate with the queen sitting on c1 because it's check, and that's it. Okay, cool. I think that's it. Let's see. But that is brilliant. I don't think I would find that in a game myself, but maybe I would. Who knows? King h1. This is played. Yay. So I thought this was possible. So he actually went, oh, but he didn't play this move. Instead, he played queen to d5. Oh, that's interesting. So he's saying, if rook g1, I'm going to take here, and then you're not going to mate me. And by the way, I have 2 pawns. Yeah, that's fair. That's pretty good defense, right? So, all right, what do we want to do against this? Well, queen h4, king g7, rook g1. Is there actually king h8 there? There can't be. Can't be king h8 there. Oh, no, there's not because, oh, maybe there is. But then queen h6, threatening queen g7. Okay, well, let's see what happened. Queen d5, rook g1. Wow, he let him take this. Wow, Pillsbury is good. So probably queen g7 is maybe an idea. Yeah, maybe queen g7, queen h5, queen f7, check, and pick up the rook is possible, but then there's queen h3 mate, right? There might be queen h3 mate. I'll put that on the board. I don't know if this is what happened or not, but I mean, I want to pick up the rook. So like, let's say they go here. That's mate. so yeah, we can't take that rook. So after this, and this, ooh, there is this move actually. There's this move, right? Because we're still on the rook. Wow, and then maybe this now. No. Don't blunder that, right? Black still, they don't have mate. Okay. I don't want to go into the weeds too far, but I think we kind of see some of the issues here. So let's see what Pillsbury did. You are pretty much near the end, I can tell. All right, so he goes rook g1, queen takes f5, queen h4 check. Oh, this check. Okay, queen h4, queen h5 blocking, queen f4 check. Okay, can't block there because there's a rook. So, wow, what to do? This is pretty nice. So they have to give up their queen. Oh, that's sad. So queen, rook takes, f takes. And with rook, knight, and 2 advanced pass pawns, black seems to have a fighting chance, but white's next move is conclusive. Ooh, okay, let's find the final move of the game. Let's play like Harry Pilsbury. Okay, It must be queen d6, right? Queen d6. I don't see a way to save the knight. So queen d6, king h5, queen takes d7, c2 though. c2 is still scary. c2 is still scary. Here's what I was saying. Oh, wait a minute. We do have this move. I mean, there's still stuff like this though, right? Like here, here. I mean, we have to be careful. I really don't think we can allow that. So and if we go here, there's this move. Check. So be really nice to mate the king, wouldn't it? Well, I'm not the best at checkmating, so let's see what happened. Queen to g5. What? Queen f4 check, it says. Rook g1, queen takes. Oh, they went queen g5, rook takes, f takes, queen d6 check. Okay. Yeah, this is the move I said. King h5, queen takes d7, c2. And what did he play? Oh, that's checkmate. I missed mate in one. Wow. Yeah, there is a mate right there because I forgot that the pawn is guarding that square. So that's just mate. So we don't have to worry about this. We can allow c2. That's very cool. So yeah, we have to see that we can take the knight, allow c2, because that's mate, and that's what I missed. But wow, so very interesting game. I mean, if we look at, let's just summarize some of the key ideas in the game now. Oops. Sorry, I have to save the main line. Okay, we have a main line. Okay, so if we just summarize like some of the key ideas. This is a Queen's Gambit declined with Bishop g5. Yes, this is one key positional idea. So we want to take before we go Bishop d3, but also we want them to commit b6 before we allow them to make this bishop a good bishop. Because at least now they have light square weaknesses as a result. Okay, and here, you know, it does make sense to not commit the rook until you know what you're doing. So he probably could have played something more useful here. I'm not sure what. Maybe h3 even. I don't know, maybe h3. But the rook ended up coming back. So now we know that black has this plan. I've seen this in other openings too. So it's not so unusual. But It's interesting. So I really like knight e2 because this is coming anyway, so the knight will be kicked. And now he is maybe saying that he'll come to this side of the board. In the actual game, though, yeah, here's a key moment. Bishop takes knight. I'm not sure I would play that move because I don't want to give up my attacking bishop. And I don't want to open up this bishop further, but Pillsbury saw more than that. He saw that this bishop is terrible. And the best it can do is come here and hope to get traded off. Well, I guess f7 eventually. And he also saw that after f6, if black went f5, you know, we could jump in there. So I think he already saw the idea of playing this fixing move, you know, and what I mean by that is if we play f5, then this pawn can never defend this pawn. So his whole plan in this part of the game was to put a lot of pressure here. And I realize now that I think he even knew that he wouldn't win that pawn. But what it did do is tie down black's defenses to that pawn, right? Like, rooks belong on open files. They don't belong, you know, defending a silly pawn. You know, and the knight came back only to add another defender, and then... Yeah, and it was at this part of the game that white's attacking it with everything he has. And black was defending with everything he has, almost. Okay, now he is. So this is one of those situations where the black pieces are now all completely passive, all defending something. So we can reroute now. We can change our... It's the principle of two weaknesses. Okay, but black does get his counterplay going. I have to say, this counterplay was concerning, for sure. But Pillsbury made moves here that are... I'm not using the engine, but they're probably precise because... I mean, a lot of people would try to defend somehow. But instead, he made this threat, which is actually a sacrifice. And you can't take the pawn, or you get, like, mated. So, Tarrasch is pretty good. So he played knight d7, guarding f6. Yeah, and here, once again, he still can't take the pawn. So this move is amazing to me. What a good move. Threatening knight f4, and knight f4 is just going to come in with a huge thud. Too many threats. So they had to move their king again. Didn't they just put the king there? Yeah. Okay, and then here, this is also a brilliant move because he understood that we need to slow down the queenside play. And that's what the move b3 does. Like knight c1, b3 is what he saw. And this does slow down black's play on the queen side. You know, and sometimes all you need is one extra tempo on the king side. So in this game, yeah, this is a really cool plan. So h3, he wants to go h3, knight h2, g4, g5. And he actually does do this, right? Yep, g5. Black's continuing. Knight g4. Yeah, rook g2, exclam. So this is where I said, like, I was playing the rook at the end of the variation. So Pillsbury put it in the front. Makes a lot of sense. Now the g file's open. Then he takes the bishop. But I get why, because he wanted to go knight h6, rook g8 mate. That wouldn't be so good, though, if there was bishop takes g8 at the end of that. So he took the bishop at the right moment. And then here, he must have calculated this all out. Sacrificing his knight. King h1. Gotta love moves like that, right? Clearance for the rook. c2 is possible here. But if c2, I guess, what would happen? I'm actually not totally sure. If c2, I'm not going to turn the engine on. Let's just go here, make a queen. Do we have mate? Yeah, we have mate. So, so he couldn't do that. Wow. Yeah, and this is instructive too. So I think it's interesting when you see your opponent's defense, you see what they want to do. Like bring their queen in, take a pawn, defend everything. And you allow it because you calculated more than that. So he saw this sequence of queen h4, queen h5, and queen here, because now the king is basically mated. So he has to give up the queen. Check. Win the knight. And this is the last part of calculation because I was scared of c2. You guys saw me struggle with this. I was like, what do we do? What do we do? That's mate. That was just mate. So there you go. So what a brilliant game by Harry Pilsbury. I hope that you guys enjoyed doing this study with me. I mean, this really was not meant to be like a quick recap. This is meant to be get our hands dirty kind of video or two-part video. So let me know if you enjoyed it at all. And if you didn't, that's okay. I mean, I'm not going to post these that often. So have a great day, and I'll be back with more chess. Okay, bye.